For Congregation Shaarey Zedek, a lot is going on for 2023. Dr. Rena Secter Elbaze comes onto UTalk to share the educational and community programming available at the Synagogue. She also chats about understanding one's emotions and how to healthily react to them, getting involved in the community, and bringing positivity to those around you.
So I'm Rena Secter Elbaze, and I'm the Director of Adult Education and Engagement at Congregation Shaarey Zedek in Winnipeg.
What does that kind of all entail, being kind of like that adult coordinator and like educator?
So actually it's for teenagers, young adults, adults in general. I put together a variety of informal adult education courses that run either in person or using a Zoom platform, for example, to teach about basic Judaism, Jewish history, the Jewish holidays. I have groups for women specifically, for young adults as well. And we talk about ancient Jewish wisdom, but through a modern perspective. So my background is in communications and marketing. That's where the doctor comes from. And so I try to take social science topics and show how Jewish wisdom informs these topics. Anything from personal branding to time management to ecology.
I really appreciate the work that you're doing at Congregation Shaarey Zedek because, it can be hard for secular societies and things to learn about some of the different cultural stuff. I mean, out here in the West, a lot of people just take understanding like Christianity as like just granted because it's so prevalent, at least with like out here in Canada and the United States. And I mean, the Jewish population has been integral in kind of building these countries, coming in as immigrants. And oftentimes, like, what actually do Jewish people believe? What are their practices and traditions? And it's really cool to have an opportunity for people to come in and learn about a group of people that's talked about a lot in history, but it's kind of glanced over maybe a little bit.
Yeah, like just right now we're offering a 5-week crash course on Judaism. What is the essential aspects of what makes Judaism different? How is it contributed to society? So like for the 5 weeks, we just had the first session that was offered to both Jews and non-Jews alike, like you were saying, people who want to know more. Belief in God was the first session. Then there's another session on the concept of prayer, of the Sabbath, the day for unplugging, which has become all of a sudden very popular in our modern time. There's another session about Jewish observance, which is based on the calendar year and on the life cycle. And finally on sexuality. And so that's something that we offer free of charge. It's quite accessible. And it's over the lunch hour. So it makes it easy for people to tune in. So that's something that we've got going right now.
What are some other programs and things that people can hop in, whether they are someone trying to learn more about their Jewish heritage and culture, or someone that's like, hey, I work with someone who's Jewish and I'd like to learn a little bit more about them and their culture without, bothering them too much about it.
Well, yeah. So later in the year, we have a Hebrew course and a course on Jewish history, which is another 5-part series. But coming up, we have on February 5th, which is a Sunday in the evening, we have 4 New Years within the Jewish year. One of them is dedicated to the rebirth of nature and trees. And so we're going to be celebrating the rebirth of nature and trees in the heart of the winter, February 5th, in the Garden of Contemplation at the Human Rights Museum. And that is available to anyone. You do need to register in advance. And we're going to be doing this ancient Kabbalistic fruit and wine pairing that comes with different poems and blessings that we say. And the fruits are all fruits that are fruits connected to the Holy Land. So the date, the pomegranate, grapes. We'll be talking about the symbolic nature of each of these different fruits and how it connects to humans and how it creates awareness about sustainable practices with regards to agriculture. So that'll be a very special event with a wine tasting.
Who doesn't like wine, right?
Exactly. And they're actually, three of them are Israeli wines and one will be a Chilean wine. But it'll also talk about how modern Israel has been the place for rebirth of this ancient culture of winemaking.
I love tasting like wines from around the world because they're like, I mean, it's wine, like you can tell it's wine, but there's always something different to it, like the different kind of earthy aromas and maybe a little bit of the texture or mouthfeel to it.
Exactly.
So it's really exciting to see how different cultures and peoples create this kind of almost universal drink that people have.
Yes, winemaking, they talk about it in the Bible. It was something that was very important in antiquity. I don't know, I probably told you before that I lived in France for 20 years, right where they were making these wines. And France, for example, has a very specific tradition where you're not allowed to irrigate the vineyards. So from one year to the next, the level of moisture of the soil will affect the taste of the grapes and the wine.
The different parts of history and how each different peoples have contributed in different ways is so amazing and fascinating. And once again, appreciate the work that Congregation Shaarey Zedek and yourself are doing to, provide these programs and education services.
Well, I would definitely invite you to come. You'll be our guest on the 5th, if you'd like to join us. And anybody who's listening to our little discussion today, you can just go to our website and register. It's $25 a person, and there'll be food as well. So it's a pretty good deal and a great venue.
Hanukkah happened recently. How was it this year for the Jewish community here in Winnipeg?
Well, first of all, it was a lot better than during the pandemic because we were able to gather again in person. And we participated in a community-wide program for families. So with many other organizations, we got together and we did a program focused mainly on children. But then we also were able to have a party at the synagogue, and I hosted a dinner for young adults during Hanukkah, which was nice. And just before Hanukkah, I brought in a speaker whose family is originally from Winnipeg. He's an author and a journalist, Wayne Hoffman, and he wrote a book, which is a murder mystery about a murder that took place in Winnipeg in 1913 of his great-grandmother, an unsolved murder. And so he came and he talked about his book, and it was a very intriguing evening. Not to mention that the power shut off right in the middle. So, you're talking about a murder mystery, and it was like really eerie.
It was great. What's going on? You weren't expecting like an interactive experience.
Well, it certainly created a great mystery around the event, but it was lots of fun. And we hadn't been able to bring in somebody in person for the longest time. So there was something very exciting about having him come and actually be there and sign books.
Like, it's been so amazing to like have these events again. And I mean, it is important to be aware, like, yes, COVID is still a thing. There are people getting sick, and go out at your discretion. But it is exciting to finally be able to have these opportunities to invite people down and meet in person, because it's been a hard 2 years since kind of the end of 2019, early 2020.
People are craving human contact. As a matter of fact, on the 19th of January, I'm doing this program. It's called Wonderful Women. And I have a singer-songwriter. Her name is Orit Shimoni, and she's doing a self-expression workshop where the people who are coming are going to actually get to write their own song.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's
and it's
really
a way
cool.
of talking about your feelings, your emotions, and as a group, they'll be writing a song with her.
Being able to express yourself and understand how you're feeling is so important. I've had a lot of struggles these past couple of years, and especially the past few months. Things have been crazy just in my personal life. Being able to understand, like, okay, why am I reacting this way? How can I react in a more positive way, even when things are stressful or upset, and understanding, hey, what are some of the bad behaviors that I have in the situation, and how can I learn from past mistakes to develop myself into a more fleshed out, well-balanced person.
That's interesting that you're talking about that, because in the Middle Ages, there was a movement in Judaism called Musar, where they would work on perfecting their personalities, and exactly what you're talking about. Rabbi Joseph Telushkin, in his book called Words That Hurt, Words That Heal, talks about how we can train ourselves to be better. For example, not to gossip about people. And he talks about doing this 24-hour challenge where every time you catch yourself getting sucked into these kind of conversations where you're, it's negative talk or you're talking about somebody, you stop and you politely close it down, obviously without embarrassing the person you're talking to, but it's these ancient practices that really can serve us to improve how we connect and relate to people, because we are having to relate again in person. And we kind of lose the habit of how to do it, don't we?
Yeah, kind of the social, what is the word? Oh no.
Socially acceptable.
Yeah, social acceptance, kind of the social rules and etiquette.
Yes. And it's easy to fly off the cuff and let people push your buttons. And how do you resist? I find I really have to keep it under control. It's not always easy.
Mm-hmm. Well, especially in our current political climate, right? Where we're seeing much more reactionary takes and behaviors from our political figures, everything over the past few months. This is what happens when individuals aren't able to understand their own emotions, and they end up projecting their insecurities and fears outwards, and it just causes pain for everyone.
We each have the potential to affect people around us. It's almost like what they call that, is it the butterfly effect? Mm-hmm. So I gave this session on the topic of happiness, for example. And aside from, clinical depression and things like that, that people don't really have any control over, in Jewish practice, we believe that it's a commandment to be happy, or at least to make an intention of being happy. So, you might not be feeling great, but if you smile at somebody, then that'll rub off of them, and then they'll in turn smile at somebody else. So being able to kind of be aware of how we're feeling and try not to affect others negatively with those feelings, that takes a lot of self-control.
And there's nothing wrong with feeling angry or feeling upset about a situation. It's about how we react to it. Because when we keep putting out negative energies, I'm just putting energies as a loose term.
Right. Yeah.
It's going to cause negativity to fester and swell, and we don't need that. It's about working collaboratively and collectively, right, and building these communities and kind of friendships with neighbors.
Yeah, I'm feeling like right now, these kind of friendships really make us feel supported. I'll just give you a great example, because you were talking to me about Hanukkah. So the doorbell rang and my daughter went to the door because I was at the office, and this lady was holding this big care package, and my daughter thought that it was, somebody that she was supposed to know. So she took the package. She said, "Thank you." So I come home, I open the package, and it was this beautiful package with these Hanukkah cookies and all sorts of beautiful treats. And it was from this organization called Friends of Israel. And this woman said she and her husband had seen that there was a lot of anti-Semitism in the media, and she wanted to reach out. So they drove around and they saw houses that had Hanukkah decorations. You're going to make me cry now, I'm telling you this. And she stopped at the houses where there was Hanukkah decorations, and she dropped off these packages.
See, that's the kind of energy we need.
I'm telling you, it made my week. It was Friends of Israel, they're called. It was so generous. Plus, they took the time to buy kosher food. So it was really adapted to to the receiver.
Yeah.
It was very thoughtful.
Yeah, that's just like this holiday season. I helped out Peg City Kindness Crew, helped deliver a couple of
Oh,
hampers, and I mean for
nice.
them this year, because of how grocery prices are, it was incredibly hard. And this is something I appreciate about what they were doing in finding meals that are multi-denominational, so that people
That's
of all
smart.
kind, like all backgrounds, are able to have it. Like making sure there's halal or kosher options for people, because not everyone can eat like ham for Christmas, right?
That was so
And I
thoughtful.
mean, it
What a
was hard for
beautiful
them this year
initiative.
to make sure to get it, because it's like, okay,
Sure.
how do we get turkey? Okay, turkey's super expensive. Does can anyone donate chicken breasts or something like that? Trying to find ways, and I think that's very important. At least, like especially here in Canadian culture and society, where we're all about multiculturalism and diversity of
Right.
thoughts and beliefs. That we need to be able to encompass everyone. Just take that little bit of extra effort to be like, oh, although this is something I can consume, can everyone have this? And I really appreciated that from them. And I think efforts like that of community members thinking about each other and going the extra mile to help out.
I love what you're saying. I listen, if there's some way that we can participate, we're always looking to do that type of thing through the synagogue. Right after this meeting with you, I'm actually meeting with One Just City to see if we can work on some projects together. But if there's some initiative that we can help you with, Ryan, it would be with great pleasure.
Okay, I'll actually reach out to Peg City, not Peg City Steppers. That's a different organization. Peg City Kindness Crew. I did this the exact same
Okay.
thing when I was talking with them. I got the names mixed up, but I'll let them know to reach out and work on maybe things over for like their holiday hampers, or maybe some other activities and things that they're trying to do throughout the year. Because yeah, it's all about paying it forward.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It makes us feel, so much better about ourselves when we're helping other people. So I think that would be great if we can assist with that.
Of course. Well, I'm glad I could help create some sort of connection here.
Yeah, I think it's great.
So, Congregation Shaarey Zedek, how were things over the last year? And I guess what are some things that maybe you're excited about heading now into 2023?
So I don't know if you're aware, but our building is now closed for the next about year and a half because we're undergoing a major
Oh,
renovation.
exciting.
They haven't renovated the building since the
So
1970s.
maybe it's about time, sort of thing.
Yeah, well, aside from asbestos abatement, redoing the roof, the HVAC, they're going to try to create some exciting spaces for us that will allow us to use technology. A lot of our things are live streamed now, but we just needed some more spaces that let light in and that, you know, feel fresh and clean and a place for us to host events. So that's a big thing
A
for
very big
us.
thing.
Yeah, so we're out of our building, and I'm realizing being out of the building how important it is to have a home and a space that you can call your own because it's always a struggle. I mean, we're very fortunate. We're being hosted by Temple Shalom, which is another synagogue, and also at the Asper Jewish Community Campus. That's where the Rady Center is located, for example. So we do things in both of those spaces. And like I mentioned earlier at the CMHR,
Yeah,
but it'll be very exciting to get back into our own home. I think it's about a year and a half out right now.
year and a half. Wow. So a little bit of waiting time.
Yeah, a little waiting time. And in the meantime, we're trying to build up the content because, it's not just about the building, it's about what you put inside and the content of what you offer, not just the container. So we're working on solidifying that and engaging people, young adults, teenagers, our seniors. We're actually partnering with the Rady JCC on this program called the Social Club. So it's every Monday at lunchtime. And we get like 40, 50 people out in person to hear a speaker or an
No
entertainer.
kidding. No kidding.
Yeah. So those are exciting things, I think. Hopeful things.
You want to get people engaged. You want to get people to come out, and because yeah, the more eyes you can have on something, the more people can learn, the more you can just build friendships. Like, especially for elderly individuals, like if they're just in their house all day, they're not interacting, maybe they haven't taught, like their kids are just not around.
Yeah.
It can be incredibly lonely. So having those opportunities to come out and make some friends, so important.
Yeah, it really is. And there's kind of like a snowball effect too. You know, people come, they enjoy it, then they bring others. So that's, I think that's pretty meaningful. It makes me feel really good about the work that I'm doing, which is nice. And I really appreciate having this opportunity, you know, that you've given me to be able to share these things, because we'd like to make it, you know, accessible to everybody.
I mean, that's the whole goal of You Multicultural, right? We connect with all these different organizations and individuals and be like, hey, there's all this cool stuff happening. Even if one person just hears it and be like, you know what? That is cool. I'm going to go check that out. That's a win in my books.
You know, we're always looking for partnerships too, for different programs. So if there's ever an organization that you know about that would like to partner with us on an initiative like you were mentioning about the Kindness Crew, we actually did an interesting event in the spring where we did a riverbank cleanup. And we partnered with a church and with the Bear Clan. That was
awesome.
Yeah, and it was unbelievable. Well, the Bear Clan was used to doing it, so they went in and they cleaned up some of the more sort of dangerous types of items that could be found. But it was crazy to see all of the things that were just left over. It really gets you thinking about the needs of, you know, the less fortunate in our community and creating an awareness. So I don't know, any opportunity you have that you know about for us to partner with other organizations, we're always quite open to that.
Mm-hmm. And of course, the same goes with Congregation Shaarey Zedek. You have any programs or events that are coming up? Make sure you send it our way. We'd love to cover it. Or like even ourselves coming out. I'm trying to, now that COVID is cleared up a little bit, and although we're in winter, trying to get out, do some more things, get involved in the community. That's what personally that I'm wanting to do more. Get out there, get involved, meet some people.
Oh, it's wonderful. Yeah, so I'll send you the email with all the details for the event on the 5th of February.
Of course.
Love to have you there.
Perfect. I'll mark it in my calendar. So I guess just to kind of finalize everything, what are some of the events coming up and where can people go to find out some more information about them?
So our website, szwinnipeg.ca/events. So you could go on to that and you can check all the events out and you can register there. Many events are free. Some events have a registration fee because are free, but some have a fee because there's, you know, a small cost involved with food or something like that. So you can check everything out on the website. We also have Facebook, same Shaarey Zedek or SZ Winnipeg, and you can find that there.
Have any stories you'd like us to share or communities we should highlight? Leave a comment on our social media or reach out to us on our website. I'm Ryan Funk. This was You Talk, and have yourself a good one.